Have you experienced or are you experiencing a dark night of the soul? It's a terrible experience, I can assure you. But what is a dark night of the soul? And is it possible to live so fully that dark night of the soul is no longer a part of your experience? I can assure you that it is. And in this video, I intend to teach you how to do just that, how to live your life so fully that you no longer are experiencing dark nights of the soul. Hi, my name is Richard Haight, and I spent 15 years in Japan studying the samurai arts. I received licenses in 4 samurai arts and 1 healing art. I now teach these arts in the United States of America as a master instructor. Through those teachings, through that study, I received a kind of awakening that's best described as the oneness of which the ancient masters often spoke. I'd like to share some of that wisdom with you. Through my training, I discovered some of the ancient samurai skills and methods of awareness. These skills and methods of awareness can best be described as types of meditations, but they're not like any type of meditation that you would be familiar with. They utterly transform my life, bringing me to a place of clarity and vibrance so that I'm able to live life more fully and vibrantly every day. If you'd like to experience those teachings, bring them into your life, click the link below. We're offering a free 7-day trial. I'm there every day with you. I hope to see you there. And now onto the topic of this video. If you've ever experienced a dark night of the soul, it's an awful place. But what is it really? Dark night of the soul is a symptom of a sickness, a symptom of utter self-absorption. It's due to a lack of engagement with life. The lack of engagement and the utter absorption are as a result of being judged. But being judged by what? Being judged by who? Most often it's actually a result of being judged by us, because no one else has true control over your inner space. These are oftentimes subconscious judgments that are actually a result of our goals, of our expectations. Whatever it is that is your aim becomes your judge, because you're constantly being assessed. Your value is constantly being assessed according to your aims, according to your values. And so the first step is to actually understand what those aims and values are, and also to question whether those aims and values are things that you actually agree with. Because most of us, many of us, carry around aims and values that we have inherited, that we haven't actually questioned, and that if we were to question them and look at them deeply, we may not actually agree with them. But regardless, they're still our judge, so long as we've not analyzed and observed them carefully and transcended them. If you're in a dark night of the soul moment, ask yourself, what is it that's judging you? What is the aim or the value in your life that you're moving toward, or maybe not moving toward? Mostly we're not moving toward it. And sometimes, of course, we're moving toward an aim or value that is utterly unfulfilling. We could describe that as sort of a midlife crisis that often occurs with people that live very, quote unquote, successful lives by other people's standards. But what they realize is that those standards, those values at some point are not fulfilling for them, and they've been living a false life. In any case, a dark night of the soul is a result of an expectation that is judging us, of an aim or a value or a goal that is judging us. What is that? Now, some of these aims and values and goals are not instilled by society, and we've not even chosen them. Some of them are biological. A woman, for example, can go through a dark night of the soul because of the instinct to have children, to procreate. when she's young, maybe in her early 20s, she might not feel that at all. And she might go about other goals which seem more important, career and um, maybe fun things, and could be shallow relationships. But when she gets into her 30s, maybe she might find that her body has an aching need to have children, as an instinct, that she feels that her life would not be fulfilled without having children. But she's so structured a life in the opposite direction that it now becomes difficult, or maybe not even possible, having biologically timed out, that she's no longer capable of having children, or at least not capable of having children in a way that would create a healthy life for them or you. In such a case, that individual, that woman, is going to experience a tremendous dark night of the soul, where her whole life suddenly feels meaningless and hollow. There are there's a trend in society that says we don't need to have children to be happy, but let's just say only an awakened individual actually can experience that, or someone who doesn't have a paternal or maternal, much of a paternal or maternal instinct. But for the body that has a strong paternal or maternal instinct, not having children can be quite can cause a lot of suffering. Now, of course, it's a bit different. An awakened individual maybe no longer experiences values as they are determined by society, and even many of the instinctual values start to soften, and we're able to experience a joy and bliss regardless of those externalities. But one of the things that occurs in the awakening soul is that the values and expectations have softened. And the reason that they have softened is that we are no longer making an unconscious or conscious assessment of our value. That which truly causes our suffering is the attempt to measure our value. Now, this goes on, and it is even reinforced by society, and we do this unconsciously and consciously, but it goes on almost all the time. We are constantly in conversation, assessing our value according to the other person, according to societal standards, according to the group that we're in, according to our successes and failures, according to our aims and expectations. The path of awakening is a path of clarity. And there cannot be clarity so long as there is the measurement of the value of the self. A measurement that it cannot be true in any means, no matter what measurement you put it against. And the reason it cannot be true is that the actual you, the deepest part of you, is infinite, and the infinite cannot be measured. You cannot measure that which has no corners or edges, that which has no defined or limited space. It's only when we attempt to measure the self that we experience the limits, the edges, and the confined spaces of the self. And that is a small space to be, especially when measured against the rest of the world, measured against our values, measured against the expectations that we have. And suddenly we find that we don't measure up, and we're in a dark night of the soul because we think somewhere deep down we will never measure up. And that is the truth. So long as you're attempting to measure the self, you will never measure up, no matter how successful you are, no matter how many children you have, no matter what you say, what you do, no matter what other people think of you. There will always be a sickness within. And the potential for a dark night of the soul is always there. So ask yourself, in what ways are you attempting to measure your value? And little by little, measure less. For me to say you'll just suddenly stop measuring, it's unrealistic. It's going to happen because that is the pattern of your brain. Your brain is patterned through habit, years and years of training to measure yourself, to measure your worth. And that brain pattern isn't just going to suddenly change. Meditation is very, very helpful, Going every day into a clear experience, even if it's just a few minutes, is very, very helpful, because during times of actual meditation, there isn't measurement. What I mean by meditation is the experience of clarity, not just sitting and trying to meditate. That's a doing. What I mean is the actual experience of clarity, no matter how fleeting or how short that period of time is essential. And it's essential that it be experienced daily, so that when you're sleeping, the brain can repattern. Again, it is the clarity, it is the lack of measurement that we're looking for. So, in the meditation that you practice, whatever form it is, those are essential elements. Even if it's just a minute or 30 seconds where there's no measurement of self, where there's a clarity, that's great. And that brings me to my final part of the video, to remind you to try out the the daily guided meditation course. It's a live course as well as on demand. And I'm there with you, guiding you through the type of meditation that brings about a vibrant clarity. Click that link below. You're not going to be disappointed. You're going to love it. Hope to see you there.